Once when I was a kid, I raced my cousin Pee-wee eating silver dollar pancakes at the IHOP.
Yeah? Who won?
Me. 25 pancakes in 11 minutes. On Gingy paid the check. Barfed in her purse. Vomited so hard I nearly gave myself a Mallory Weiss tear in the esophagus.
On your diet, Elliot. You and Marcy will be better off. Not to mention your Aunt Ginger.
Marcy said lovers should balance their aesthetic qualities. Part of the psychosexual equality plank. I'm not sure I know what that really means.
Gotta have something to do with who's on top.
Axelrod, this is the monthly meeting of department heads, not fat heads. Scram.
Shall we get started?
Daniel, I want to visit my granddaughter in the nursery before rounds. Would you try to keep it short, please?
I'm trying to score a 3-day weekend, so I'd appreciate it.
You look terrible.
Yeah, I feel like I'm coming down with the flu.
You're infecting us all, for Pete's sake.
Donald, would you like to tell everyone about your community outreach programs?
Well, when I was in Africa, I learned a great deal about medicine's responsibility to the community.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. Ray Meldrum in ophthalmology tells me we're having a yard sale of one of our argon lasers. Do you know how many Zellman Foundation rubber chicken dinners I had to go through to get that piece of hardware?
Daniel and I feel that the laser is expendable, Mark, and the money that we get from selling it will go toward funding the outreach program.
May I remind you both, it's surgery that generates the largest revenues for St. Eligius.
Would you like to take a vote on selling the thing?
Don't bother. The ayes have it.
I don't feel well. I'm sorry. Please excuse me.
He takes all this personally. Keep it moving, Daniel.
Any discharge or pain during urination?
Only blood. Been hitting the W.C. Johnson a lot past couple days.
You have insurance, Mr. Devine.
Wouldn't be without it. But Dad says roughly 45 million Americans don't have health coverage. That's a shame, because even though the rate of inflation dropped from double digits in '82, hospital costs rose 15% that same year. Another 12% in '83 and 10% in '84.
No stats yet for this year? Helen, you're gonna miss the ER.
Oh, but not the screaming burn victims and the little children who swallowed bleach. Nah, back to the ward for me. I'm out of here.
Hey, as soon as I'm finished here, we'll get some x-rays, a urinalysis, a blood count, and try and find out what's causing your bleeding.
I'm gonna need another box.
One's enough. I'll show you.
Mr. Devine's in the moving business.
Levine and Sons. We do good work. Have a pen.
Thank you.
Now, you start with the basics. Volume. That requires a thorough understanding of geometric and dimensional analysis. Interested?
Well, actually, I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Gotcha. You're on your way.
And so are we. Follow me.
You're a nice woman. Caring and sensitive. You belong on the ward. As soon as you're working with long-term patients again, you'll get back that sense of purpose you lost.
How do you know so much about me?
Possession's 9/10 of the law in human nature. Liv Ullman's autobiography. Country New England inns, like my dad says. Our lives are what we shove in a box. Good luck.
My car's still being fixed at Wolfgang's. That stormtrooper is taking me for every Deutschmark I've got. Don't forget, I'll need a ride home. Ran out of the meeting and tossed breakfast, eh, Donald?
How are you feeling?
Chills, sweating, nausea.
Glad to see you going home. You can use the rest.
I wish I could. No, I'm on my way over to see Judge Farnham.
What in heaven's name for?
Well, he's chairman of the board, Daniel. And I figure if we can sit down and talk, maybe I can get these programs going one at a time. I'm going to start with the family unit proposal. Least expensive and easier to implement.
Go home and rest. Let Constance take care of you.
No, there's too much to do, including a parent-teachers conference at Tommy's school this afternoon.
You know, Jack, I'm worried about Pete. Never says a word, not even a peep. Of course, I wouldn't talk either if I was wearing a wrap on my head. It's a raccoon cap. Ellen, tie a yellow ribbon. Welcome back.
Rumor had it you were headed this way. You really gonna work in the ward and not be the boss?
Well, the director of nursing said I'd be reassigned as head nurse when the next position becomes available.
Ah, it's always such a hoot circling the welcome wagons. Ehrlich, your patient, Mrs. Blaine, was out of her room,
Little post-op recovery stroll.
face down in the middle of the hall. Sherry, Mr. Hamilton needs the sheets changed. Show him how to ring for assistance next time. Helen, the meds need to be done. Don't forget to sign the narcotics requisition. One copy stays here, the other two are sent to the pharmacy.
Glad to be back.
I thought I was.
You know, nurseries are functional, but not the least bit soothing. Bright lights, dark walls.
Nobody singing lullabies.
Always some crybaby 2 bassinets over.
But we're getting to know each other, aren't we? See ya.
She's abandoned. Father's dead. Mother's in a coma. No one's able to reach the Galecki grandparents.
Barbara's been alone too long, Mark. She should come home with us now.
I think that's a good idea.
Dr. Carlisle says she's strong enough to leave the hospital.
Of course Mary would say that. She wants to get paid. I mean, what does a pediatrician have to worry about? Giving a booster shot every couple of months? Taking height and weight like a prize fighter before a bout? I mean, it's the parents that have to take care of the kid 24 hours a day. It's the biggest responsibility in the world.
We have to be Barbara's parents, Mark, at least for now.
We'll talk about it tonight. You don't have to pick me up. I'm catching a ride with Daniel.
Terry, is your checkup scheduled for today?
Next week. I wanted to see the babies.
Getting an idea of what yours might look like? How about that carrot topper? He's adorable.
2 weeks ago, after you performed my artificial insemination, Ken and I thought for sure I'd get pregnant. Didn't work, Dr. Turner. I got my period this morning. What went wrong?
We'll find out. Come on.
U.S. Urology Consult, Dr. Fiskus. Let's get on with it. Patient Victor Bovine, 37-year-old white male. Presented this morning in ER. Either he's whizzing blood or there's too much red dye in his maraschino cherries.
Reschedule Mr. Glassman's IVP for tomorrow.
There's no prior history of hematuria. Medical history is non-contributory, which is the same way I feel about annual giving at Tulane.
Merv, see you on the squash court, 5:30.
Okay.
Family history is positive for the big C. Dad had colon cancer, and old granddad had the same thing as Reagan.
Intestinal polyps?
A wife named Nancy.
Kidneys are normal in size and contour. Symmetric function bilaterally. Renal pelvis and ureters are normal without evidence of stones. However, the bladder's contracted with an irregular defect. You better take a look at that lesion. Set up a time for a cystoscopy, Dr. Wade. You'll be assisting.
Surgical gloves, mail jack. Oh, yeah, you should feel right at home.
Dr. Fiscus, this procedure's as serious as any other. It's not for your amusement or entertainment. Mr. Provine will have a cystoscope inserted through the end of his penis into his bladder. And while it may not be painful, much like a gynecological exam, patients find the process very humiliating.
I'll schedule the OR for 3 o'clock.
Make it 3:15.
Urologists act like they got the world by the standings.
Oh, brother. Jack, can't Pete make do someplace else?
Victor, don't turn it into such a big deal.
You better check your old psych text there. Freud's sexual development. This is a crucial stage for Pete. I mean, one mistake here could be devastating to his personality.
Yeah, and Jack's given him so little personality to begin with.
Yeah, well, we all get twisted in different ways. Ask Bob. He was the one making the splice with the teen dream in the bathroom stall.
You mean that rumor was true? You made it with the dean? The respiratory therapist in the ladies' room?
I don't want to talk about it. Wait a minute. What's this?
Hospital property, 5-finger discount. Look, I'm going up to my house on the Cape this weekend. I haven't had a chance to buy towels or sheets. Don't you worry about your professional reputation. I'm gonna bring the linen back. No. I'm talking about what you did with, Nadine. Look, why don't you all stop bugging me?
You're lucky someone didn't catch you.
You're lucky you didn't catch something. Single scene is a dirty microbiological war fought in dark places. AIDS, gonorrhea, herpes.
What happened to Joan Halloran? I am incapable of having a meaningful relationship.
Take a number, buddy. Get in line.
When I broke up with Joan, I said it was because I didn't understand what was going on in her head. All the time I didn't know what was going on inside mine. Maybe I'm having a breakdown. I'm gonna go up to my house on the Cape. Work on it. Need some improvement. You guys have a good weekend. I gotta get Pete down to Susie Larkin. Why don't you do me a favor? Take care of his potty. Last one out, dumps.
Oh. Next time, put the lid down. Uh-oh. No show.
This kid's in trouble.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Donald.
All right.
The jury just acquitted Mrs. Gillies of the murder of her husband. Surprised the bejeepers out of me. Ah, thank you, Miss Gilman. Something to eat, Donald? Cream of celery?
No, thanks.
Not terribly generous with the bill. You look pretty haggard.
Oh, no, I'm fine, just working through some things.
Well, sit.
Judge, I would like to go ahead on the family unit proposal.
That's the rigmarole about providing a bed next to hospitalized children so their parents can stay with them?
And I've gone over the budget, and the cost would be virtually nothing. We already have the rollaway beds.
Well, what's a child's average length of stay at St. Eligius?
3 days.
How many children do you treat a month?
175, 200.
Feeding the indigent parents of what? 200 children 3 meals a day sounds rather expensive.
Judge, there's just so much a doctor can do in the healing process. Now, the presence of family in a time of illness has incredible power.
Possibly.
No, I've seen it work in Ethiopia. It'll work here.
Well, your proposal needs to be reviewed in a thoughtful manner, and that takes time.
How much time, Judge?
I've been on the board of St. Eligius for 15 years. And in that time, I've come to realize that hospitals are a lot like courtrooms. Overcrowded, backlogged, but sooner or later, everyone gets fair and due process. It's a good system. Yes? Huh? Well, where is she now? I'll be right down. On her way out of the building, Mrs. Gillies confessed to reporters that she killed her husband. A good system, but not perfect. Take care of yourself, Donald.
Last time my body felt numb like this, I was moving a refrigerator and got pinned underneath.
The effects of the spinal injection will only last a few hours.
You may start feeling some pressure, Mr. Bovine, as the scope enters your bladder, passing through the sphincter muscle.
Dead end.
Ureteral openings appear unobstructed. There's the lesion on the anterior wall. Biopsy forceps.
Dr. Barton's taking a sample from the lesion, which will be sent to the lab for analysis.
And if the lesion's benign, this is where it stops, right?
Almost finished, Mr. Bovine. Then I'll remove the scope.
Better than leaving it there.
I'm not saying we shouldn't see each other again.
You didn't have a very good time with our first date.
Chandler, you came to my flute recital. You took me out for coffee afterwards and then straight home. Not even a kiss. Just good night, Irene.
Well, I wasn't sure what you wanted.
Men, you either treat women like antique vases or spittoons.
I'll make it up to you tonight.
Okay.
Where do you want to go?
Recital was my pick. It's your turn, buddy.
Mark! The police called. Yvonne's parents have been located.
Are the Galeckis coming here?
It didn't say.
Because you didn't ask. Why bother transferring to the ward if you're not going to do the job?
Helen, Mrs. Cogan says the aminophylline makes her nauseated on an empty stomach.
Well, if she'd be more comfortable, wait and medicate her with lunch.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Hey, that's right. Lucy's still the head honcho. A big cheese, grand poobah.
Button it, Ehrlich.
You're the boss.
Mrs. Cogan's aminophylline level is being drawn at noon.
Look, I'm not trying to tell you how to run the ward, but Cherry could wait 2 hours.
Stick to the schedule, if it's not too much trouble.
Awfully chilly around here. Elliot, Pally boy, been looking all over for you. Lucy tells me you took our little heart to heart.
What about?
Healthy diet and regular exercise. Here's my contribution to your diet. The Berkeley no fat, no fun formula for feeding.
Sounds great. What is it?
Carrot and celery sticks, no salt.
Dr. Fiskus, let me show you the letter my dad dropped off. It's from the Massachusetts Board of Underwater Archaeology. Bovine and Sons has been granted permission to recover the treasure of the Ferdinand II galleon. Sank 25 miles off Wellafleet in 1430.
Aren't you in the moving business?
Well, that's where we make the money to build our dream. Bovine and Sons salvage crew. See? Our boys don't get bent. Says so right here.
Dr. Wade told me that your biopsy came back positive.
Cancer. The surgery's scheduled for tomorrow. Dr. Barton said he'll probably have to take out my bladder, replace it with an ostomy bag I'll wear on my hip to collect urine.
Did he did he also discuss the possibility of your becoming, you know...
Impotent? Yeah.
You doing okay?
Had a good cry. But I never planned on children anyway.
You seem to be handling all this pretty well.
Oh, I'm a New England pragmatist like my dad. If I don't have this operation, I'll die. Besides, I look at the soul of the man next to me and realize my passage here on Earth has no more discernible purpose than his. From that mystery, I fashion meaning by just being alive.
Your dad teach you that?
Discovered it on my own. First day of summer camp. In the shower.
Hi.
How's life at the Death Factory?
You don't want to know, believe me. Nice sport.
I only asked because you were supposed to be at the parent-teacher conference this afternoon.
Oh, boy. What is going on with me?
Well, it's no problem. I went. Mrs. always said Tommy's doing beautifully since he came back.
Yeah, Tommy, help.
Anything I can do?
Everything's under control.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm making a dish that's a specialty of Maurice, the new chef at the restaurant.
Afraid I don't have much of an appetite tonight. We're out of aspirin.
Oh, I moved the bottle to the bathroom medicine chest, where it belongs. You want me to go get it for you?
No, that's all right. I just can't understand why I'm having so much trouble convincing these people how important these outreach programs are.
Lord knows you've done nothing but talk about it. Maybe your next step is action. Break a few eggs, make an omelet. Break a few rules. Turn people's heads around. Make them pay attention, huh? Oh, there's a postcard from Lizzie on the table.
More.
Sounds like she is having a ball driving cross country.
She didn't tell me that Rick Messina was going to be with her.
Oh, didn't she?
You knew and you didn't tell me, right?
Why? So you could race off to Montana and rescue her?
You did a good job here, my friend.
Go away. No touch.
Need some aspirin.
Mark, you said we could talk about Barbara.
Why do you buy fitted sheets?
Well, it's easier. You're always criticizing my hospital corners.
Well, the snap has gone out of the elastic. Really singes my drawers. I'll get another sheet.
I want to bring Barbara home tomorrow.
Here. Just change the bed, huh? Tried to be a good father. I did my best to weave my son into the fabric of our family. The older he got, the less I know how to help. How to reach him. Offer him advice, but he'd ignore it. I was the same lousy father to Stephen that my father was to me. Detached. I wasn't there for my son. You were right, Neil. I hurt people. It's my fault Stephen's dead. And Yvonne's in a coma. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess we can only be the person that we really are to our children. You couldn't change yourself through Stephen. Sometimes we make mistakes in life and we just have to live with them. Maybe you weren't always there for our son, but I know you're there for Barbara. I've seen you with her in the nursery. Barbara needs us, Mark.
All right, Ellen. You win.
We win.
Lady downstairs says our daughter's here, Yvonne Galecki.
Ah, yes, right this way. Page Dr. Craig, have him meet me in 3404.
We were at my brother's place in Gates and got home, and the lady in the next trailer said the cops would come by, that my daughter had been in an accident, was in a coma, said to come here.
Yes, Yvonne and Stephen were headed for RIT. Apparently Stephen fell asleep at the wheel. He was killed.
Yes, we know. The baby's all right, though?
Oh, yes, she's doing fine. She's in our nursery.
Is Ronnie in any pain?
No,
Can she hear us?
there's no way of knowing that.
What happened, my girl?
This from Mrs. Galecki? I'm Mark Craig. I'm sorry we couldn't have met under different circumstances.
Your hand's dry. I got some lotion.
I'm personally seeing to it Yvonne gets the best medical care.
Would you leave us alone with our daughter, please?
I've made a 12-centimeter incision just above the bladder. Very rare for someone young as Mr. Devine to have a lesion of this nature. Protractor.
Please hold the retractor, Dr. Wade. I'd like you to feel inside the bladder for the lesion.
It appears to involve the entire anterior wall.
We'll proceed to remove the bladder and perform an ileal conduit. I'll use a portion of Mr. Bovine's small intestine. One end will be connected to the ureter, and the other to the abdominal wall, through which urine will pass. Your assessment, Dr. Wade.
There's no way to do a limited operation. The erectile nerve function is going to be permanently impaired.
Help you find something?
Yeah, give me a flathead, 1.5 inches. Ring-hanging shutters.
Brass. They won't corrode in the salt air. Anything else?
Hammer?
You mean screwdriver?
No, I'm also whacking on a new porch railing. That's all I've been doing for the last day is working on my house. I'm so tired of fixing leaky faucets and replacing old...
Hammers. Mallet, claw, ball peen.
Claw.
15 ounces.
Feels good. You know my size.
Let me ring this up. Haven't seen you in here before.
Bought the old replace a month ago. Keep finding things need to be repaired. You know, cracked window molding, sprung doors, cracked
Doesn't
windows.
sound too tough. My name's A.
Pretty name.
It means life in Greek.
So you own this place?
It's my father's. I watch him for him in the mornings he goes fishing.
What time you get off?
Ken took the shuttle to New York. He had a meeting on Wall Street. I didn't tell him I got my period.
He's gonna know eventually.
And I wanted to find out first. What happened?
Terry, I assumed the acidity of the mucus was holding us up. It's the most common. I was partially right, but the x-rays we took show your fallopian tubes are blocked.
Blocked? How?
Scarring. Making them inflexible and impassable.
Well, what causes that?
Lots of things. There could be complications related to the IUD you used to use.
Great. So what's the next step?
Dr. Morrison?
2 choices. The first is to surgically open up the tubes. It's a delicate operation with only moderate success.
Door number 2?
In vitro fertilization. What we do is we start you on a fertility drug called HMG. And then we follow the growth of the eggs with ultrasound. When they mature, you'll be medicated in order to stimulate ovulation. 36 hours later, Dr. Turner will harvest as many eggs as possible, which we'll fertilize in the lab with Kent's sperm and then put back in the uterus.
Well, how soon would you do this?
Couple weeks.
But first, you better talk the procedure over with Ken.
Yeah, of course. You know, in the 60s, the point was to have sex without having babies. I guess I've come full circle, babies without sex.
While you're here in Boston, we'd love to have you stay with us. After all, we're family now.
Oh, that's real nice. But Patty and me are going back to Clinton tonight. Going to make arrangements to bring Bonnie home.
Well, that's a good idea. I have the name of a top-rated neurologist at the Jiva Medical Center.
Well, we've got a good hospital nearby. It's not as nice as this one, but they're good people. They sewed my son Glenn's hand together after he cut it up on a piece of scrap metal.
I understand you work at a museum.
Mm-hmm. Munson Proctor in Utica. Security guard.
Yvonne told us you had a Thomas Cole exhibit there recently.
Yeah. Oh, real big affair. A lot of people come through.
Mark and I are very fond of Yvonne.
We thought your Stevie was terrific, too. He and Jean got along real good.
You visited Stephen in Columbus?
Once. You take I-90 west to Cleveland, and then you go...
71 south to Columbus. I'm familiar with the highway system.
Well, mostly, Lonnie and Steve came to visit us. Me and him, we'd go up to Burz's for some drafts and darts. Good boy. Great dart player, too. Made me feel like I was back in school again myself.
Really? What grade?
Mark, please.
Is there a Goodwill or Salvation Army nearby? We've got to stop over before we leave, pick up a car seat for baby Barbara.
Car seat?
What's New York state law? You gotta have one.
We already do.
You mean we can use yours?
Oh, sure. When you come to visit, or to take Barbara to Clinton to see her mother.
Barbara will see her all the time.
What do you mean?
When Yvonne and Steve found out they were pregnant, they asked us to be Barbara's guardians in case anything happened to them.
You're taking Barbara?
It's a copy of their will.
Any beds that won't fit on the ward, we'll put in storage. There's a utility closet down at the end of the hall.
Oh, what's all the commotion?
We're starting the family unit.
Judge Farnham gave the board's approval?
We have to keep these families together, and I'm having trouble making Constance understand that.
What are you talking about? Donald, you can't create this kind of anarchy.
Playing by the rules doesn't pay. These people are sick, and the camp has to take care of them.
Donald, you're not bigger than this institution. The board won't tolerate your actions. They'll fire you, and you won't be of use to anyone.
It's too hot, and I have to remember to work harder with Tommy when I get home. What time is it in the States, you know?
You're not making any sense.
We have to get these people out of the sun. Out of the sun. It's not good.
Donald was only bruised by the fall.
What caused him to black out?
My guess is it was a resistant strain of malaria that he picked up on his trip to Africa. Until the blood tests come back, we won't know for sure.
Well, how is he now?
Resting comfortably. Check it and see. Donald had a fever of 103. He was delirious.
That's a tough condition to detect in my brother-in-law.
Dr. Auschlander, excuse me. Dr. Thorpe needs a consult and a hepatoma of resection with bleeding and no heart. You must be Aunt Constance?
Yes.
On my way. I'll stop that.
I knew something like this was going to happen.
Of course you did. Constance, nothing's working out.
Look, you went to Ethiopia because you were tired and restless. You dismantled your life. You left Boston. You know what? People go on. They work through the void your departure created.
Don't lecture me, Constance. Just listen. The woman at the camp's teenage son died. trying to comprehend that as she stood over him with her, waving her arms, half crazed and half dancing, trying to push the air back into her son's open mouth. I feel like that. The things I came back to accomplish, nobody seems to care about. My daughter doesn't trust me enough to tell me she's running off with her boyfriend. My son doesn't know me anymore. Shows more affection toward you than he does me.
Donald, I think you make life more complicated than it has to be. My advice, stay in bed. I'd like to pick up Tommy from school.
So St. Peter asks him, how'd you get here? And the golfer says, him too.
Mr. Bavine doing okay?
He's fine. Let's get some coffee. You know, Wayne, I've noticed under all the gallows humor, you're taking this case a little more personally than usual.
Don't you every time you do a hysterectomy?
No?
Jacqueline, I feel like I don't know myself anymore. I mean, I'm the guy that made love to Kathy Martin in every room of this hospital, including Dr. Auschlander's office.
You did?
You ought to get out a little more, you know that? In any case, over the past 2 months, I've had no interest in quick, empty snorkeling.
Loss of sex drive could mean liver, kidney, or pituitary disease.
Get your mind out of the gutter. I want marriage, love, kids. I want little fist guy crawling up my legs. I'll tell you what I don't want.
A cold sore?
No, this.
Are you worried that when you're ready, potency will pass you by?
15% of men get a varicose vein on one of their testicles. This reduces sperm production, and that can cause infertility.
Sure, but there's really not anything we can do about it.
Yes, there is.
It's a beautiful day.
Why don't we drive to Provincetown? Visit the Pilgrim Monument.
There, if you climb to the top, you can see all the way back to Boston.
Nice house. Upstairs and downstairs. Pretty maids and handsome masters. It's never that way.
No?
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Girls like her are really something rare. I need to use the bathroom.
Right through there on your left.
Listen, maybe your father wants to go fishing again. Might need someone to mind the store.
We're staying here.
Such a great day. Sunny. 85 degrees, cool breeze.
Nice going, Donald. How did you let this happen?
My malaria prophylaxis.
I'm talking about getting my friend, Judge Farnham, all nutsed up over your outreach programs.
I'll be up on my feet in about 2 weeks. Thanks a lot.
How are you feeling?
Lousy.
You look lousy. It's your own fault for not getting a physical when you got home.
Why did you talk to Farnham?
Yeah, well, the Galeckis blew in this afternoon. You should see these people. They make prearranged marriages seem like forward thinking. I mean, the wife is harmless enough, but the husband, a real tool user.
Mark, excuse me. I'm really not very clear-headed right now. What has this to do with Farnham?
It seems that Stephen and Yvonne designated the Galeckis to be Barbara's guardians. I was hoping the judge would grant a habeas corpus and stop them from taking her, but all he wanted to yak about was your damn proposals. I mean, the Galeckis even bought a copy of Steve and Vonnie's will. Like I wouldn't take their word for it.
Would you?
Are you out of your mind?
That looks genuine to me, Mark.
Yeah, well, when did you make the law review? Ridiculous. Stephen would want me and Ellen to take care of his daughter. He must have written this will when he was in a drunken stupor. I want Barbara to have the brightest future possible, not spend her formative years in a trailer park. Okay, the Galeckis may take my granddaughter this evening, but you can bet that I'll get her back before she's had her diapers changed.
I want to have the in vitro fertilization.
You discussed it with Ken?
I called him in New York. The Dow's up almost 8 points. He's bullish on utilities and having children.
I'll walk you down to the pharmacy. Let's get you started on your HMG.
2 weeks ago, when I passed out the sperm bank donor form, you could have cared less. You said, and I'll never forget this, you said you didn't like the idea of your flesh and blood walking around without you knowing it.
Jack, get off my back. I changed my mind, okay?
Oh, that reminds me. Change the sheets, too.
For 2 years, you've been a stick. Now you doing jokes?
Oh, Wayne, hey, relax. Drop in. Anytime.
I have an auto club card.
No, don't need it. Alternator shorts out time to time. I just take another match for cover and go between the wheel well.
Of course. Does this thing have seat belts?
Will you come and visit Barbara?
Oh, of course.
It's hard to leave Yvonne here. Afraid she might die before I get back.
I want to help with the additional expenses for caring for Barbara. Ellen, the Galeckis have a long drive home. Give Mrs. Galecki the baby.
No. Handle your wife, Craig.
Gene, stop.
No. I'm finished being polite. You're rich and selfish. You got no notion what it is to raise a kid. Steve told me all about you.
What happened between Stephen and us is none of your business.
Take another look at what he did to my daughter, then tell me that's none of my business. Give us our granddaughter.
I'll get her back. I promise. I'll see you in court, Galecki.
you doing here?
Daddy.
This works in Ethiopia, no reason it shouldn't work here.
Glad you're here, son.
Daddy better?
Someday I'll put new plumbing in this house. Maybe get me a deal on some pipe. You know, you were right about me in the store.